Give my son your credit card or get out. He hurled the coffee straight at my chest, his face twisted in rage. I staggered back into the cold night. But later I discovered the house wasn't really his to claim. That instant replayed in my mind for weeks after I left. The hiss came first, not his shout, though that cut deep, but the sharp, vicious sizzle as scalding liquid seeped through fabric and seared my skin. It sounded like oil spitting in a hot skillet. It was 7:15 on a Wednesday morning in Riverton, Indiana. I remember because I just glanced at the clock over the stove, the one that always lagged 3 minutes behind. The kitchen reeked of burnt eggs and stale smoke. Shane's phone vibrated on the counter, rattling against the worn formica like an angry hornet. My name is Laura Benson. I was 58 that morning. I'd spent 32 years as a union welder with UA Local 12, fabricating pipelines, factories, bridges. I retired early after a knee injury that never mended properly. I believed in settling debts promptly, honoring commitments, and not claiming what wasn't mine. I never imagined I'd be in my own home, assaulted by my husband. Martin stood by the fridge, clutching the mug like a club. His eyes weren't frantic. That unnerved me more. They were dull, weary, resolute. "Laura," he said too evenly. "We've discussed this already." Shane didn't glance up. He slouched at the table in his sweatshirt, fingers smearing his phone screen with grease from his sausage. The app glowed red, he grumbled. "Payment's overdue." I set my thermos down. The clang echoed sharper than it should. I said no, I replied. "I'm not handing my credit card to him." That's when Martin erupted. "Do you know what happens if his car gets repoed?" He barked. "You want him trapped here? Is that your plan?" I let out a humorless chuckle. He's been trapped here for 4 years. Shane finally lifted his head, a smirk pulling at his lips. "You've got savings," he said. "What, hoarding it for the afterlife?" I looked at Martin, hoping for something. A frown, a defense. He shoved the cold bacon plate my way instead. "Just do it, Laura," he said. "Family first." A knot twisted in my gut. "Family doesn't evict people," I said. "Family doesn't drain bank accounts." That's when the coffee flew. It splashed my right arm and side, soaking my blouse, burning fierce and immediate. I gasped. The mug glanced off my elbow and shattered on the linoleum. Shards slid under the chairs. Absurdly, I noted it was the mug with our vacation photo from 8 years back. All of us grinning like life was unbreakable. "Give him the money or leave," Martin yelled. My skin felt like it was contracting, blistering. I stood frozen for a beat, staring at the vapor rising from my sleeve. Then I nodded. "Fine," I said, my voice distant. "I'm going." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't retaliate. I went to the coat rack, grabbed my coat, keys, purse. I reached for the fireproof box on the shelf where I kept my documents. Titles, things I never fully entrusted to others. Shane scoffed. "Good riddance." I stepped into the chill. The April wind whipped my damp blouse like a slap. Ice rimmed the edges of my Ford's windshield. I sat in the driver's seat and just inhaled. Each breath stung where the burn was already swelling like a vice tightening. I drove to the walk-in clinic on Elm Street. The doctor peeled back my sleeve and winced. "Nasty one," he said. "Domestic?" I paused, then nodded. "Document it," he advised softly. I gazed at the fluorescent lights as he bandaged my arm. I never thought I'd need proof against my own spouse, like I was preparing a defense. Back in my car, my phone pinged, a bank alert. "Request to add authorized user, Shane Whitaker." My fingers trembled. I pulled into a Dunkin' lot and sat with an ice pack pressed to the burn. The scent of coffee turned my stomach. I called Tina Reyes, my old union pal, the one who'd been by my side at promotions and wakes. "He threw coffee at me," I said. Silence stretched. Then Tina replied, "Stay with me." That night, on her pull-out sofa in the den, my arm pulsing, I replayed a talk from months prior. Martin at the dining table with forms. "It's for security," he'd said. "If something happens to you." I recalled signing with a blue pen. I always use blue, but the duplicate. I'd seen later the ink seemed black. I lay there hearing the radiator clank, and felt the burn under the dressing prickle and constrict. For the first time, it dawned on me that being forced out might not be the worst of that morning. The house could already be slipping away. Tina's den smelled like musty rugs and faint gasoline. The sofa bed groaned with every shift, and my arm nagged with a deep ache that the injury was still raw beneath the wrap. Sleep arrived in fragments. Each time I dozed, I heard the sizzle again, the coffee meeting flesh. Tina was up when I emerged, scrambling eggs in a skillet like routine. 60 years old, hips worn, posture rigid, but still the woman who'd clocked in daily. "You look rough," she said, pushing a plate over. "Feel worse," I said. She didn't pry. Tina understood. She just nodded and poured coffee into a faded Colts mug. I left it untouched. After she headed to her therapy session, I sat at the folding table in the den and opened my laptop. My hands shook logging into my accounts. That tremor wasn't from hurt. It was the fear you delay naming. The figures didn't deceive. Withdrawals I didn't recall, $250 here, $350 there. Overdraft penalties piled up. A charge for a gaming site I'd never used, another for Quick Cash Pro. All on my card, all late at night. I dug further. A short-term loan, $600, Shane's name linked. But my details, my contact, my credit history. I leaned back, eyes shut. He didn't seek aid, I realized. He sought entry. My phone rang. Martin's name flashed. I picked up. "Satisfied now?" He said, "No greeting, no breath." "I'm scalded," I said. "You threw coffee on me. You pushed me," he snapped. "You shamed Shane." "He shamed himself," I said. "Trying to take from me." Shane's voice blared through. "Take? You've been freeloading off Dad's salary since your knee went." I laughed, sour. "I paid for this home for 25 years. "You don't even work now," he said. "What good are you?" Martin didn't hush him. He just exhaled. "Laura, come home and be sensible." "I'm through with sensible," I said, and ended the call. An hour later, I sat opposite a man named Alex at the credit union on Maple Avenue. He had bifocals on a cord and the steady tone of someone who'd untangled many knots. He listened without cutting in as I spilled it. The burn. The ultimatum, the debits. When I wrapped up, he clasped his hands. "I encounter this too often," he said. "Especially with seniors, family demands. Just this once." "What now?" I asked. "We lock it down," he said. "Today." He guided me methodically. Fraud flag, fresh card, new codes. He barred adding users. He assisted opening a solo savings and redirecting my pension. "This isn't deserting family," he said kindly. "It's safeguarding you." Those words lingered. Leaving the branch, I felt a spark absent since Wednesday, command. It faded quick. By dusk, my phone buzzed relentlessly. My brother Tom, a couple from the lodge, a co-worker I rarely saw. "Why'd you abandon Martin? He says you stormed off. What's wrong with you, Laura?" I ignored them all. On Saturday afternoon, I drove to the house for clothes and my gear. I parked down the block and eyed the place I'd repaired, painted, maintained. The side door wouldn't budge. I keyed the code twice. Nothing. Shane appeared from the backyard, keys jingling, smirking like he'd anticipated. "Code's new," he said. "You don't belong here." "I'm collecting my things," I said. "You got what you earned," he replied. I spotted the car then, a glossy red Jeep. Fresh off the lot, parked where my Ford once did. Shane lounged against it like royalty. As he pivoted, a pamphlet poked from his jeans. Fast cash offer. No hassle close, skip banks. I drove off wordless. That evening, Tina and I sat in her kitchen. She popped 2 sodas and passed one. I watched the bubbles rise. "He's hemorrhaging cash," Tina said. "Types like that don't beg for cards unless cornered." "I raised him," I murmured, "from age 14. Taught him to weld. Endorsed his first credit." Tina shook her head. "You didn't nurture a crook. You trusted one." Sunday morning, passing the house en route to the attorney's, I saw Shane in the drive chatting with a stranger. Ill-fitting brown suit, no belt. The guy passed Shane a packet. Shane bobbed eagerly like a pup eyeing a bone. I didn't know the man, but I knew this. Shane wasn't chasing my card anymore. He aimed higher, and he was foolish enough to assume I wouldn't spot it. Karen Novak's office perched above a shuttered bakery on Front Street. The sort you'd overlook unless desperate. The stairs reeked of mildew and faded polish. My arm throbbed ascending, a cue that wounds ignore ego. Karen was mid-60s, silver hair pinned, specs low on her bridge. Her space smelled of files, tangible files and ink. No motivational art, just rows of folders and a photo of a state house I knew from the Capitol. "Start from the top," she said, tapping a pencil. I did. The coffee, the card demand, Shane, the union, the brochure. She didn't wince. Done, she reclined and said, "Laura, we'll pace this. You don't mend frenzy with frenzy." She fanned my papers. Titles, logs, the estate docs Martin pushed after my knee. "This is a revocable trust," Karen said. "You're the settler. It's yours, or was." She nudged a sheet. "This change, that's the snag." My gut nodded. The ink looked off. "Black, not blue." "I always sign blue," I said. Karen nodded. "Details like that count more than you'd guess." She jabbed the notary spot. "The signer, not impartial?" "Tied to Shane." My teeth clenched. "So, it suggests coercion," she said. "But nothing's guaranteed. We need evidence and time." Time wasn't my forte. Welding drilled quick fixes, but this was docs and folks. Karen outlined the strategy starkly. First, legal split, not for freedom, but leverage. Second, urgent plea for sole home access, citing attack and pressure. Third, halt trust tweaks till court scrutiny. "This isn't payback," she said. "It's shield." I nodded, chest empty. "He's not evil," I said. "Martin's frightened. Scared of poverty." Karen's gaze softened briefly. "Fear skews calculations," she said, "but doesn't justify acts." Tina aided legally, grabbing what I could from the house. While Martin and Shane were absent, we snagged mail with my name. In a cracker box on the shelf, I found creased envelopes. Red stamps, overdue, last warning. Not to me. Back at Karen's, I displayed them. She didn't grin. She nodded like confirming a test. "He's sinking," she said. "Sinking folks clutch anything buoyant." That day my phone alerted, loan app submitted. Something snapped, not fury but focus. Shane wasn't careless. He was trapped. And trapped men err openly. Karen submitted the filings by close. Leaving, she said, "Laura, if a buyer appears for your home, ring me." No confrontation. Let docs speak. That night on Tina's sofa, my arm itching under the wrap, I watched the vent fan whirl lazily. I'd fixed things manually all my life. Now I grasped battling with words, and words I learned endure past scars. I didn't witness it directly. I learned via Martin's call, voice high, fracturing. While I stood in Tina's yard, keys clutched, unsure if to drive or collapse. "A woman's in the house," he said. "Laura, what have you done?" I shut my eyes. "What woman?" I asked. "A outsider, in a blazer. She's composed. Too composed." His breath caught. "She says we can't stay." That was Friday, 4:50 p.m., when daylight thins and secrets bare. I later knew her as Elena Voss, certified estate overseer, per trustee directives amid court probe. No alarms, no yells, just a notepad and a tone steady despite Martin's rants. "Sir," she told him, "step aside for the assessment." Martin said he'd demanded her authority. "I oversee the asset," Elena said, "not the occupants." Shane charged in after, inflated like a bull. "You can't," he said. "Our home." Elena didn't flinch. "Sir, you're not on title, not in trust, not on bills. Exit, please." That line wounded more than any jab I could have thrown. When Martin reached me, he wept. "You ambushed me," he said. "You shamed me." "You threw coffee," I said softly, "and banished me." "Pause on the line." Shane paced, swearing faintly. "You didn't need outsiders," he said. I eyed my dressing. "You did," I said. "Just unnamed." Post-call, Tina squeezed my shoulder. "Paper's power," she said. "It doesn't bicker." But backlash hit swift. My brother phoned that eve. "Martin claims you dispatched someone to evict him." "I dispatched an order," I said. "He's your husband," my brother said. "Not foe." I wanted to yell. Instead, I stared at Tina's lawn patch and said, "I'm holding my shelter." By Saturday morn, gossip spread. At the cafe, the club, sides picked sans caries. I nearly snapped when a 25-year acquaintance shook his head. "Never pegged you for treating him so." What anchored me wasn't wrath. It was picturing Elena in my den, listing items with a stylus like routine Thursday. That PM, Shane texted. "Think you're clever," he wrote. "Papers don't shield forever." "I'll destroy you." I didn't reply. Forwarded to Karen. She texted, "Excellent." Let him rant. By dusk, Elena finished the tally. No spectacle, no fuss, just records. "What's mine? Shared? Untouchable?" Martin messaged again. "Stop, please." I drafted, erased, drafted. Court decides. I sat on Tina's sofa edge, hearing the heat cycle, burn prickling with nerves. For the first since Wednesday, the shift was theirs, not mine. The woman in the blazer hadn't shouted. She didn't have to. Saturday evenings at the lodge hall had a pattern. Same dish clinks, same aroma of baked perch and slaw, same women settling into folding seats like bones bargained with. I hadn't intended going, but Tina said dodging looks worse. So I went. The space hushed subtly, not dead, just diluted. Talks dipping, gazes averting quick. I took a tray, cued. The burn under my top itched, skin taut, urging remembrance. Laura, someone said. Quick grin, dip, then murmur behind. That's her? She left outright. Heard he was terrified. I fixed on the fish. At a side table, Martin sat rigid, palms clasped round a foam cup. Shane sprawled nearby in fresh denim, arms slung like he ruled. Spotting me, his lip curled just so. Tina whispered near. Don't engage, she said. Let him spout. I ate mute, food like sawdust. Every utensil scrape boomed. Mid-meal, Martin rose. His voice quavered but projected. I want folks to know, he said. I didn't seek this. My heart sank. He unnamed me, needless. Shane slid in slick. Laura's muddled, he said. Stress overload. We aimed to aid. Heads bobbed. My knuckles whitened beneath. Karen's words rang, let paper prevail. After, outside under flickering bulbs, a woman I scarcely knew neared Tina. Saw Shane recently, she murmured. With a slick talker, docs in play. Tina's brows rose. She eyed me. First Fisher. Monday dawned brisk and overcast. The courthouse smelled of aged oak and sanitizer. I sat on a stiff bench, palms laced, pulse steady, heavy. Shane entered in a rumpled gray suit. Cuff had a price tag hidden. Leaning on wall, a guard coughed. Shane Whitaker, he said. Clear away. Shane reddened, muttered. Martin dodged my gaze. In chambers, Karen spoke direct. No drama, facts. Burn pics, bank trails, trust edit, neighbor affidavit, Elena's list. Shane interrupted once. Judge lifted hand. Sir, she said, your chance. He scarcely got one. Over, Martin crumbled in hall. Didn't expect this extent, he sobbed. He claimed temporary. I regarded him truly. He appeared diminished, aged. I asked halt, I said, you ousted me. He grasped my sleeve, froze at bandage. Face folded. Sorry, he whispered. I retreated. Some regrets arrived too tardy to mend. As Shane was led for other issues, citations, dues, folks gawked. Not him, me. Outside, Tina touched my arm. You stayed firm, she said. Victory way. I nodded, watching Martin descend steps solo. Lodge crowd would chatter. Always. But now, full tale. The room cleared post-tempest, seats dragging, papers rustling, tones hesitant. I lingered seated, palms joined, breath easing. My arm itched dull under wrap, sign hurt lingers post-yells. Karen leaned close. Wrapped, she said. Key part anyhow. Judge's edicts clear, trust change paused for exam. House ploy stalled. Shane barred from premises, no contact order. More money tricks meant graver woes than tickets. No bangs, no cheers, just signatures. As folks passed, I sensed stares, probing, wary, readjusting. Same who muttered at lodge now dipped heads abrupt, like aisle bump sans words. Martin hovered by exits. He looked tinier than memory. Shoulders slumped, fingers shredding a napkin. Eyes met, he gulped. Laura, he said. I approached. Close I saw mouth creases deepened by fret. Recalled dawns those meant bills or his father's care. Recalled loving him for bearing loads quiet. Didn't think he'd sell, he said. Said just forms gain time. I nodded. Time costs, I said, and he spent mine. He eyed my arm. Never aimed to harm. I paused. Head echoed sizzle, mug break, aftermath words. Believe you, I said at last. But belief doesn't repair. His eyes welled. Hand extended, dropped. Restart. Question lingered like haze. Don't know, I said. Need peace now. He nodded, anticipated. We stood beat longer. Then he turned, walked steps alone. Tina awaited out, hands pocketed. Tea? She asked, half grin. Not now, I said. We drove home quiet. Street same. Leafless limbs, cracked walks, swing set sans chains. Unlocking door, scent halted. Worn rug, pine scrub, faint coffee. Elena's tags gone. Rooms vaster sans Shane's clamor. I paced slow, grazing chair back, counterlip. Kitchen, shattered mug absent. Plain blue one stood, spotless, empty. Stood long. That night, slept own bed. Frame creaked familiar. Vent hummed low. Rolled side, arm pulled, eased. Morning, cafe on oak. Same spot, same server. She placed eggs, bread, said rough week. Small smile. Could say. A lodge woman paused table. Another. No talks, just nods. Palm on shoulder. Acknowledgement. Mattered over triumph. Won't claim all mended. Didn't. Docks guard house, not rebuild faith. Some eves quiet overwhelms. Some morns I cringe at brewing scent. But at 58 learned what wished sooner. Love can't cost self-respect. Kin can empty pockets, dub help. When talk fails, paper, slow, plain, true, proclaims loud. If hearing this ever walk to self-save, no, not feeble choosing safe over mute. Not harsh setting bound, sometimes bravest is no meant. If tale strikes near, share thoughts below. For more true tales on firm standing right, like, subscribe, not alone.